Now, you may remember that back in July, we had Paul and Tim from the Alliance Theatre on. It's just over the border from us in Newtown. And they were talking about their Shakespeare ONeLINE lockdown community play. Well, they're back with something else for you that you might want to get involved in. An online panto. Paul Martin and Tim Parks join me now. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good evening, good evening. It's very lovely to talk to you again.
Good. Right. Talk me through the idea then.
Right, well, the idea is we want to try and raise awareness of the crisis that facing theatres right now by dealing with a problem that everyone's got. There's no pantos this year. So we thought we'd do a panto and invite everybody, or as many people as we can get, to take part in it, whereby we give everybody just one line to do, and then they'll film it on their phones, send it in to us, and we'll splice them all together to make the panto.
See, in this way, when you can't go out to the theatre, you can't go and see a play, go and see a panto, this way, all you have to do is do your line, we'll put the whole performance together, and then you can watch it in the comfort of your own home on Christmas Eve.
Well, that's nice and easy.
Very easy.
Oh, well, maybe you'd like to register yourself, Mark, right now, on air.
Yes, but given I'm a professional attention seeker, it better be a decent line.
I remember when we were talking about Shakespeare, you said that you'd like to be an ugly sister.
I remember it. I wrote it down on this piece of paper here.
Okay, well, send me a line then, and I will record it, definitely.
Okay, well, we might have a go with that in a second, actually.
Okay, well, now, the serious side of it, panto's a huge cash generator for theatres, isn't it? This is a massive, massive hole in the budgets of so many theatres. Is yours feeling it as well?
Oh, absolutely. We had plans to do our own panto. It was going to be Jack and the Beanstalk. We were going to do that at our new theatre, Alliance Theatre in Newtown, and we can't do it. We can't do anything inside a theatre space. It's actually a massive problem for theatres all around the country. There's a big theatre in Shrewsbury every year, a panto in Shrewsbury every year, and that can't be done. There's attempts to do some pantos. There's a massive one being done at the Palladium in London, but that's just for people who can get there. But yes, you're absolutely right. It's an absolute crisis.
And in all fairness, those who are going to be sort of enabled to perform at the Palladium potentially aren't those in greatest need.
No, that is right. For a lot of performers, the panto is where they earn their money for the year. In many ways. They rehearse it for several months, perform it over, starting perhaps in November, going right through until January, even February. So it's a
huge part of their financial year. I mean, you've got the big theatres count on panto because that is what's going to pay for the artistic programme for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's the thing that pays for the perhaps more niche stuff that you can go and access that might not turn a profit, isn't it, essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. The popularity of panto, it needs to go on several shows a day, sometimes 3 shows a day over a whole number of months. It's very, very popular, gets very, very large audiences, and that's great. And in some cases, that's the only theatre people go to in a year. And then maybe as they grow and they become more interested in the performance side of things, the other little things might start to take their interest. And because the panto enables those smaller things to happen, theatre can continue to grow and appeal to the next generation.
I'm guessing that for you two, this is about the longest break you'll have had from putting anything on face-to-face in years.
Yes, absolutely right. We were involved with Newtown Musical Theatre, where they do 2 shows a year. They've not done one at all this year. We're involved in the Powys Theatre, the Amateur Dramatic Theatre. They do 3 shows every year. They're not able to perform either.
I mean, it's shut the whole... I mean, not only has it affected the professional theatre scene where actors and performers and technicians get paid, but of course it's completely shut down the amateur theatre side of things as well. You've got the musical theatre societies, you've got the dramatic theatre societies, all of these places that are central to many people's social lives. You've got people whose only night out a week is to maybe go and spend some time with these groups, or in many cases people's hobbies and things like that. And all of that has come to a crushing halt.
And have you missed it in funny ways? And I ask that because I cover a lot of sport, and when there was no sport on, one of the really weird ways I missed it was that I had no idea what day of the week it is. Because suddenly you realise that you build your whole week around being in certain places at certain points. And it was the most disorientating thing. Have you missed theatre in a sort of odd way?
Well, this is exactly the point. I mean, we've been rehearsing something for a long, long time. And there's always been something that we're doing. And we generally rehearsed on the Tuesdays and Thursday nights. And people would come together and rehearse whatever and go about their lives. And then all of a sudden, you're absolutely right. That linchpin of your week has gone, because in many cases work is just work, and you go to work and you go to work and all the rest of it, and it's those little things in the evenings that you can mark your time by. And as I was talking to my brother, and he was saying about how lockdown completely ruined people's opportunities to gauge certain times, because not many of us were able to do much.
And when you speak to people who you usually work with, I know even when you see people, but you see the same people over and over again, you still can feel quite lonely, can't you? And you make a good point about social circles. It's great for mental health, isn't it, to go and perform and express yourself and have that catharsis and do all of that?
Absolutely. We're obviously an amateur group, so we have things during the day as well. But what we've tried to do is play readings and things like that over Zoom, which sort of works. You know, you do your best, but I think most people are used to using Zoom now, and they know it's got some limitations. But you really feel for people who are professional, because most people in the theatre are freelancers, and if they're not working, they're not earning anything. And a lot of them don't even, they're not established businesses in the way that other people are. So they've sort of lost out on financial help from the government. So it's a crisis for theatres and a very big crisis for individual performers and musicians and stagehands.
And everybody involved. I mean, it's a huge industry. There's not only the people you see on the stage, but there's a whole team of backstage and front of house. All those people have been affected as well. But talking about the mental health side of things, I mean, our little group of Alliance Theaterians, as it were, we've been talking regularly on Zoom, as Paul says, and, they've spoken to us and said how pleased they are that we have carried on doing something throughout this time.
It must be weird being on the border as well, because you're coping with two different types of lockdown or not, or restrictions or not, as the case may be. So any chance that you've had to do anything beyond Zoom will have been, I guess, rendered practically impossible by that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one rule here, one rule there. Some of our people in our company live over the border, some of them don't. Some of them are allowed out, some of them aren't. I mean, fortunately, we have had the whole Zoom thing, but all of us are missing that face-to-face interaction and wanting to rehearse something properly again.
So obviously you've got all of your group. How many people do you need to make this panto work?
Oh, well, now, there's the thing, you see. Because of the way it's structured, the more people we have involved, the better it's going to be. Because if you only have 10 people, then, each person's going to get a whole bunch of lines. And nobody wants to learn a whole bunch of lines. You want to have fun with it. So the more people we have, the fewer lines you'll get. So our idea is to raise it'd be great to get 500 people. If we got 500 people wanting to be a part of it, everybody could have a line and everybody could see themselves being part of this greater thing. But I know what you're going to ask. What you're going to ask is, but there's only 6 characters. If there's only 6 characters, how's that going to work? Well, you see, each person is going to get a character, but we're going to have more than one Cinderella, more than one Buttons the Pumpkin, more than one person playing the mouse, you see, and each one will be different. Each one will have their own costume, and that's what's going to make it fun. That's what's going to make it unique.
So this is going to be video as well?
Well, they video. So the idea is once you register, we will send you the line, and you've got to rehearse it, put together some sort of costume, and then you film yourself delivering your line on your mobile phone, and then you just send the little video into us, basically, and we just link them all together.
There must be part of you that's terrified about what some of the costumes will look like, some of the videos that are going to drop into your email folder.
But now you see, it's that same part that's excited as well. Because as we found out with the Shakespeare project, we had no idea what we were going to get. We had a whole range of stuff. It's still available to view on our YouTube channel. And they are all so different, and that's what it made it so fantastic. It's the fact that they were all so different that we thought maybe this could work with something bigger. And just because 20 people have got the part of Cinderella, every single one of those Cinderellas is going to be different because none of them know what the other Cinderellas are going to do.
The great thing about that, and I have had a watch of the Shakespeare, is how great it is to get a nosy in people's house, because a lot of them are recording in various rooms of their houses, and you find yourself looking at sort of the decor and the things on the walls and anything weird they've got in the background.
Well, you see now, it's a good, very interesting you brought that up because we're actually going more technically advanced this time round. The plan is to go more technically advanced. This time, people are going to deliver their lines in front of a plain background, like a plain wall, take the pictures down and deliver it against a plain wall, so that our technical team are going to try and put in a digital background so that all the Cinderellas are all in the same castle.
That's cool. Okay, so you've managed to you've found a technical team from somewhere. Who's that?
Now we have a technical team. Because Alliance Theatre has been going for a few years now, we've managed to acquire actors, we've acquired set builders, we've acquired props people, we've found costume people, we've found technical people, we've found sound people, light people, people that want to be a part of creating interesting theatre. And every show we've done, our whole company has continued to grow as people continue to bring their specialist skills and interests to the company.
Okay, well, count me in. How does everyone else get involved?
Right, well, it's very, very simple. All they have to do is go to our website, alliancetheatre.co.uk, and there's a little registration box at the top. All you have to do there is put your name, your email address, and then the characters in order of preference. So we've got Cinderella, Ugly Sister, Evil Stepmother, Fairy Godmother, Buttons, Dandini, and a mouse.
And the prince. Very important. He doesn't have to have a moustache, though, Paul.
Oh, doesn't have to have a moustache.
Doesn't have to have a moustache, but no one's going to hold that against him.
Wonderful. Gents, it's wonderful to catch up with you, and well done for keeping on going.
Well, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you on the show.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much. That's alliancetheatre.co.uk. Send Paul Martin and Tim Parks a little video of yourself, and you can be in, well, what's potentially going to be one of the only pantos